Life comes to an end, something that adolescents do not understand. That although a person is not sick, the days of life are counted. And once this aspect of life is taken into consideration, a person changes. You know, I've met a lot of people throughout life, and, they don't understand that life comes to an end. They don't understand that, you know the adolescence, more than anything, they don't understand. Like me as an adult, I understand that, that life is coming to an end. That that like I said, although people are not sick, although people are not sick, because those sick individuals, that have their days counted, you know they're counting their days. Like, hey, the doctor says that I'm gonna die in like about 4 or 5 months, and they're counting their days. How must that feel? How would they feel? How what's the feeling of counting your days that you're gonna die? Where are you going to go? You know? And I've said it to a couple of Christians. I've said it to a couple of Christians, you know what? Well, I'm just waiting to die. I know where I'm going. I've been good my life. I've been good throughout my life, so I know where I'm going. And it feels good. But to those people that are bad, it's like, where are you going? Do you have an idea of where you're going? You know? And like I said, very much like these people that get told that they have a certain amount of time of life, you know, people, adults, they start to take into consideration, hey, you know what? My life is finishing. I'm not sick, I'm healthy, but my life is gone almost. I have a couple of years left, a couple of decades, and adolescents, they don't understand this. There's some people that I have seen, become aware that they don't have life, that they don't have much life, that they don't have much of an opportunity, and they choose to go to do the wrong things, to do evil, because they say, hey, you know what? Well, my life is almost coming to an end, so, or I have never had, and I might as well, you know, get something out of life, some type of experience, and they choose to do evil, to do the wrong things, to be bad, because of time, because their life is coming to an end, or because they've never had this and they've never had that, and their mind goes off on, you know what, hey, I want. And so that's what they do. They do evil things to be able to. And like I said, life does come to an end. So when you take this aspect, when you start to contemplate this aspect of life, you know, I think that a lot of people change, some for the worst and some for the better. I guess you could say a lot for the worst and a few for the better, because there's hardly any good people out here. There's very few people that are good, and honestly, authentically, good persons, where a good person sees a situation, sees somebody that needs help, and you help them. An authentic situation. You know, there's hardly any people that care. People are, how would you say it, egoistic. They're selfish.